Hello, everybody. Welcome to the session for laying out the weekly trading plan for the next week, which is starting tomorrow. We'll quickly recap of what has been the market activity in Nifty and Bank Nifty so far and essentially build a plan for the next week. So we'll start with Nifty and then move to Bank Nifty. Nifty, if you see, once we had this strong move, post that budget day move, we have been trading sort of in this range of 14,700, 800 and 15,300. We did try to sort of break outside this range twice, thrice, but we have sort of failed to do so. Last occasion being this Friday itself, where we did gap up again above this range, but sort of pushed back into and where rotated on the downside. So the channel around 14,250, 260 and 14,770 becomes the strongest, your core reference in terms of the overall channel. So that is the overall sort of larger time frame construct. Now let us look into what is the profile for the last week, and then on we'll build a plan for this week. We'll use the fixed profile charts available to build the profile for the last week as such. Yeah. So what we have here is, if you see, we have this Nifty profile. This is for the entire week. So we have two distinct areas. One is your this node, which is a distinct area, and we have sort of another this node as another distinct area available. Also, what we have seen is Nifty has formed a bit of a trend line, if I may say, break just around the edge of it. If you sort of do a trend line around Nifty, we are potentially just on the edge of the trend line where we would have just broken through or held below, essentially. So we tested below, but just held on the edge of the trend line. So nothing conclusive on that aspect. Now, what we want from Nifty in the next week is essentially hold this key level 15,150 odd, which is sort of until we are not able to clear this level. I would look for a downside continuation to test low on the lower side. Okay, if you're able to hold this level, then we would look for an upside move to rotate back to 260 and test higher. So our our key trend decider or line in sand is 15,150 for this week. This is the level for me, 15,150. So if we don't cross this, I would look for a rotation back. If we are able to cross this and hold, I look for a movement on the upside. So this is my key reference for Nifty for this week. Okay, and we'll also quickly look at the daily profiles to form a little more conclusive picture around our areas as such. Yeah. So here you have the daily profiles in Nifty. So what we have is a very similar profile on the daily charts as well, where we again have distinct zones in these two areas. So this gives a very good confirmation of the level to watch out for. So we again have a distinct zone here. So essentially, if we are not able to cross around this level, I would look for a downside confirmation. So that's the plan for Nifty. Now, where do we go from here? That is something we have to see. So I would look for roughly about this zone to hold in Nifty. If you are able to hold this zone, I would look for a test, one test lower to test around this, which should be your, just a second. So you would look for a test of 14,890, and the next level would be, of course, the levels of 14,770 is the one that we have for reference. Okay, on the just yeah. And on the upside, we would look for we this we would look for, so these are the key references for me on the downside. So 890 and your, yeah, thank you. Sorry for this confusion. So yes, on the upside, if we are able to hold these levels and we are sort of testing above, then I would look for a rotation back to your 260 and potentially higher to test your 320, 330 levels. So these are the key areas I would watch for in Nifty. Okay. Now similarly, let us look at the Bank Nifty charts. Bank Nifty again, what do you have? We had this strong, we had this strong up move on the budget day, and then from there on, we have sort of held this level. If you see, this was a spike, which is important. Sort of, we have once we broke above this, we did bottom here once, twice, roughly around these levels. So this becomes your key level, a key swing reference, which is 34, 700, 750 areas. On the weekly profile charts, if we have this weekly profile charts for Bank Nifty, we not a very clear distinct distribution but on the volume, but generally you still have this area and this area. So based on that, I would look for your levels of 600, 750 as the key resistance area. So until we hold below that, I would look for a sort of a push on the downside to either hold below or break below. One key area is, if you see, we had a very distinct volume here, 350 area node. So I would look for a 350. That is one key reference I would look for. So to whether markets can hold and push below 350 or not. If they are not able to do so, we can look for some support to sort of step in and try to push markets up, depending on the other conditions like global markets, Nifty, etc. But 350 is another area to look for on the downside. On the upside, 650 is a key reference. Holding below, sort of, we would continue to look for a downside inflection. And we'll quickly also look at your Nifty 30-minute, the daily profile charts for a more conclusive view of our thesis. Yeah, 350 if you see is a pretty on the this 30-minute chart is also 350 odd is a good reference, so you'd want to watch out for that in the next immediate session. And this entire ranges VPOC is also around 270 280, so that's and there's a bit of a support around this region, so it's important to see that whether the sellers can continue momentum lower to 250 350 300, else we have a possibility of a pullback on the cards. On the downside, once we break below, potential targets are 900 areas, and below that, potential targets are 730 and 534 500 areas. So these are the two key levels on the downside. On the upside, if you're able to hold above 36050, and then a break above that can rally to 36500 in a very quick time. Okay, these are the key areas for Bank Nifty to watch out for the next session. We'll continue to share more real-time information on market structures and order flow, but stay tuned to our Telegram or a Twitter handle around that. Thank you.